Howdy everybody, welcome back to my channel and thank you for joining me for another Budget With Me in YNAB video. I am back this week a little later than usual, but I'm back to budget out my third paycheck of April, which I keep wanting to say February for some reason, and we're almost to May, which is insane. But yeah, my third paycheck of April, as well as some extra income that I'm excited about, because if you're new here, I am investing all of my extra income this year, and that means everything that I make outside of my normal job, I am putting towards investing, and I have a $45,000 investment goal this year. So I have a good sized contribution to make this week. And yeah, other than that, apologies for the background, still trying to figure out where I can film these videos without completely disrupting my boyfriend's life and like kicking him out of the house, or yeah. I definitely do not like filming when anyone else is in the house and can potentially hear, but we've kind of figured out like a semi-permanent solution where I can film in this spare bedroom that we have in our apartment. So I'll just have to work on like making the background maybe a little more interesting, or like situating my desk a certain way, but I know that that's not what you guys come to my channel for anyway, so it's not super important. But yeah, other than that, this week was, well, and it's basically last week now because today is Tuesday. It was pretty normal week, but the weekend was definitely busy because my boyfriend had some family in for, not for Easter, they just so happened to be on spring break as well. So we did kind of celebrate Easter weekend with them, and that was super fun. So didn't have a chance to budget out my money with you until now. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So this ready to assign amount I already touched on is my week 3 of April paycheck. This is my gross pay. So $1,550 hit my account. And then I also received a $400 bank bonus, that's a pretty good amount from a bank bonus. I signed up for this a few weeks ago and met the direct deposit requirements. I believe you're supposed to have a minimum of 2 direct deposits that total at least $1,000. And Truist is a little bit tricky in their bonus requirements, where you need to keep at least a penny in the account at all times until you get paid the bonus. I think some people get tripped up with this specific bank and they miss that in the terms, and they end up withdrawing all of the money that they have in the account before the bonus hits. They just get their direct deposit and then like transfer the direct deposit somewhere else, and then they don't get that bonus because they were supposed to leave at least a penny. So tip for anyone who wants to sign up for this Truist bank bonus, and I think you can Google it and find it. You don't need a special code. It is a code, but you can find it by Googling and finding Truist's landing page about it. But yeah, so all in all, I made $400 from that, and I also made $90 over the Easter weekend for checking in on one of my clients' cats. That was 5 days of checking in on the cat, so I made $90 there. And then I also cashed out $10.42 on a couple of my credit cards. So that $10 helped to bring me over the $500 mark for extra money towards investing this week. So that's super exciting. I am going to go ahead and actually, before we even budget, I do need to add a couple of transactions just to make sure that my budget is up to date. Which card was it on? Oh, my credit is minimized here. It was on we did a grocery trip today, and we also went to Home Depot so that I could make a spare key for our apartment, because we just have physical keys. We don't have like a keypad to get into our apartment or anything, and it just makes me a little bit nervous that we both have the only keys, and like we're gonna be traveling, and I'd like for my mom to have a key so that she can come like check on our place and make sure it's okay while we're gone for like 3 weeks this coming July. And yeah, I just want someone to have a key, or like if we're out during the day and we leave our dog at home, but then we're not gonna, like for some reason something happens and we can't make it back, then we can have my mom like go check on the dog or get him or whatever. It's just nice to have someone who has a spare key. So got a spare key. What card were these on? This was on my Freedom card. So we're gonna add Kroger, groceries, that's correct, and this was $46.20, and it was all just groceries, no household items this time, so that is easy enough. And then for Home Depot, and I'm just looking at a couple receipts here, that's what I'm looking down at. This was the same card, I believe, yes. And we can go ahead and add, I guess I've never shopped at Home Depot with, and marked the transaction in YNAB, that's funny. So this will be a stuff and things purchase, which is already overspent. Spare key, and that was $6.22. Perfect. Okay, now we can go ahead and get back to the budget, and we can throw in that extra $500.42 towards investing. Plus, I also invest $500 per paycheck. So we can throw that in there as well. And then I also, since I am a 1099 contractor, I have to pay quarterly taxes, and I save $275 per paycheck into a high yield interest savings account to collect a little bit of interest on my tax savings, and then I make quarterly payments throughout the year as a contractor. Okay, so let's first of all go ahead and assign the rest of this money into next month. I'm a month ahead, so I am budgeting into May right now, and I'm just gonna go down the list and finish out meal kits, which I have a feeling that actually once May hits, I think my boyfriend and I are going to get away from doing meal kits. I'm going to assign this money just because it's already a target and I can always move the money to like groceries later, but I'll go ahead and fund it now. But yeah, probably going to get rid of that. They're not quite worth the money for us. Like, they were more so about the convenience of not having to choose what to make for dinner. That was like the main selling point for us. But in order to be worth it for us, we have to have that really steep welcome discount that meal kit boxes offer. Like, I think you can get 50% off of your first box on most meal kits, or they have some sort of like stacked discount on your first, 5 boxes or something like that. That is the only way that it is worth it to us, but it also just kind of like breaks even in my mind. They're still so expensive per meal. So we really want to get away from that and just spend more time planning our meals and having like some routine staple meals that are cost effective but still yummy and easy to make and not too much of like a burden on the mind to think about, So anyway, let's move on here. So food and drink is all funded for next month. And then what can we do towards discretionary here? Okay, we can fund all of discretionary. And then rent and utilities are already taken care of. And then we can just go down the list of essentials here. We can fund the gym, health insurance, phone bill, services and fees, subscriptions, and that's it. And then we can put the last $5.35 towards therapy for next month. And then we can flip back to April because I need to fix this mess that's going on in here. So for groceries, that grocery trip today did put me overspent, but we don't have any more meal kit boxes that we are going to be paying for the rest of this month. And like I said, we're probably going to be just canceling those altogether. So I can cover this overspending with the meal kit money. Whoops. Meal kits. And that looks good there. And then actually I'm just going to throw this money into groceries because like I said, we're not going to be paying for any more meal kits this month. And then household, you know what? I think I'm actually going to have to steal the grocery money to pay for that anyway. And then we can cover the rest of this overspending with, I think I'm actually going to cover it with dining out. Yeah. And then this stuff and things, I ordered some new curtains to try out in our bedroom. I'm now trying to figure out the color situation in the bedroom. But yeah, these walls, like I'm just not a fan of gray and the trend of like gray laminate floors with gray. It's like a white gray wall, and I'm more of like a warm girl. So I'm really struggling to like warm up the place and find especially curtain colors and things on the wall that don't look so weird against the really cool gray color. So that's been a bit of a struggle, but yeah, anyway. So that's what some of that overspending was. And then also the key. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cover all of this with my apartment fund that I have in my savings. And then we are all good there. So yeah, little bit of a quick one this week. I should be back next week for sure to budget out my last paycheck of April, as well as close out April and not set up my May budget, but actually go over maybe a couple of changes that I'm going to be making in May. Spoiler alert, because I'm always changing things up. I can't just like, my budget is always just a work in progress, but that's also the fun of it. I have a lot of fun kind of tweaking things and changing up my mindset and how I'm thinking of my dollars and how I'm assigning them. So yeah, should be back for that. And also it's getting to be the end of the month, so we'll be doing an April recap soon here. But yeah, enough of me rambling. I hope you guys had a good Easter weekend if you celebrate, or just a good weekend. I hope the weather has been nice for you, and hope you're having a good April, and I will catch you all in the next video. All right, bye guys. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you like the video. All right, bye.